All right, on this episode of The Houseline, we have a singer, songwriter, musician, and qualified creative industries professional, Megan Gill. Megan,
Yes. Hey.
welcome to the house.
Welcome.
It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great to have you.
Yeah, we're real happy to have you. Like in the earlies when we first launched, it was a bit nerve-wracking. I wouldn't lie. I mean, it always is to kind of put yourself out there, right? So we uploaded the first video, which was with Nikolai,
Nikolai, yeah.
And I mean, it was real good to get some positive feedback.
Yeah.
Really, I think most people, when they consume media, they're like lurkers.
Right.
So they look, they consume, but they don't necessarily comment or like or say anything.
Right.
So we would see like 300 views or whatever, and one comment like, do people hate it?
I mean, interactions are important, and I mean, I really liked, like I said, like from the time I saw you guys advertising it, like I really liked the initiative.
Yeah.
So, it was amazing and engaging, and I watched them all. So
Yeah.
I'm really happy to be here. It's an honor to be on the show.
Nice.
So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, man. I mean, we had the last episode was with Jamel, the entertainer. He's like a local comedian, content creator kind of thing. And like coming down to the end of his episode, he said something which is real important. He was like, it was like his message to the public, and he was saying, guys, whenever you see like a new content creator, somebody puts out something, like even if it's music, like they might be like a small soca artist or something, and they upload their video to Julian's promos or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's so important to tell people, well done.
Yeah.
Keep
If you like
at
it, yeah.
Yeah.
Give
And
it a like.
I can't position myself as like a creative industries professional or someone who's like wants to see the arts in Trinidad and Tobago thrive and then just like sit down there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I try to be active as much as I can.
But you genuinely like it as well. You think we're doing all right?
Yeah. No, I definitely wouldn't say anything if I didn't
If
like
you didn't like it.
Yeah.
Trust
Okay.
it. Trust that. Yeah.
Cool.
That's cool, man. So, what is like a creative industries professional? It sounds like all encompassing.
I mean, pretty much. It took me quite a while to kind of figure out what I was, like what I could call myself, because no longer does just like music producer fit or technical theater practitioner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not like a manager of the arts. It's a lot more that I would like to do, and a lot more that I think I'm capable of doing. So I wanted something that gave a big bracket and sort of was also like a conversation starter.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I hope that creative industries. That sounds good.
I think it sounds good.
Yeah.
I mean, I could kind of compare it to. I mean, it's different, right? But similar sort of aspects. So like I call myself, or I hope to be a digital marketing strategist, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And to really be like a proper digital marketing manager or strategist, you need to know a lot of different aspects of digital marketing, whether it's the digital advertising, the social media management, the content creation,
All the moving parts.
the analytics.
Exactly.
There's like a lot of moving parts. Now, I wouldn't call myself like a super expert in any of those one particular areas, but to pull off my job, you need to know a little bit of everything, you know? Whereas they might somebody who is a straight up wizard with Google Ads or something, and they specialize there,
Yeah.
you know? So I kind of see it like that.
Creative industries wizard.
Yeah. That's a good one too. So maybe let's kind of start off with the music side of things.
Yeah.
So
let's go.
how did you get into that? How did you get into music?
I mean, I think I've always, I can't remember a time that I didn't enjoy music or music didn't touch me, I used to journal a lot as a kid. I would journal and I'd write poems and all these things, as a kid. And then like there was always music playing in my house. Like none of my family members played an instrument. Nobody nobody that I like, if you guys are watching, like please let me know if like some kind of great something, someone played, but nobody played. you know.
Right.
But there was music in the house. Like my dad would always play everything from like old school dub and reggae to like rock. We'd always watch DVDs of like Michael Jackson music videos
Yeah.
and like Queen music videos. We'd watch them
Right.
all their videos, know all these
Yeah.
songs, Elvis Presley, these kinds of things. So like that is what I kind of grew up doing, you know.
Yeah.
And then I
Bes-
started playing guitar.
Besides music, was anybody into like any sort of art form?
Yeah, well-
Painting or
Yeah. My sister actually, when she was young, like when she was, I don't know, maybe like 7, 8, somewhere around there.
right.
Or even before, she was with Necessary Arts. So she would, I don't know if you know Necessary Arts, like an acting school in,
Okay.
in Trinidad.
Okay.
She used to do a little shows in Little Carib Theatre before it was all converted, like
That's
back
cool,
the
man.
old Little Carib and stuff. So she was the one who was like doing stuff, and like my parents were going to shows, and like I
Right.
was like studying for like SEA, and like she was like, you know, rehearsing and
Right.
stuff like that. She
Yeah.
was the singer and actress and stuff, and
Okay.
she's a really good writer and content producer and stuff too. Like she still has it, you know.
Right.
But she did that first, you know.
Yeah.
And then later on, I started playing when I was like 12. Like I expressed interest in guitar. I mean,
Okay.
first it was drums, but
Wait.
ain't nobody parents want that,
Wait.
right?
I wish it was drums though.
yeah. Like I had like a little laptop drum, like
Yeah.
on a little digital thing, and I was just like not working out for me.
Yeah.
Backtrack a little. I did play pan though. I
Okay.
played pan in primary school.
Right.
And I played by ear a lot too. Like I would just kind of figure things out
Wow.
all
okay.
the time, right? So yeah, I expressed interest for guitar. My gran, you know, bought me my first guitar, and then like the next day I was in lesson. I literally spent, because she lived in San Fernando, I spent like one full August, and I took a lesson every day or every other day, and I learned to play guitar in like a month.
Wow.
I just couldn't. I didn't want to stop now,
Right.
and
So you picked it up fairly quickly,
Yeah.
or you were just kind of just dedicated yourself? to the
yeah, like
lessons
I would
and-
play until I couldn't play anymore. Like I just wanted to know everything right now.
Yeah.
So I learned it all in like that August.
And what sort of music were you playing?
Man, at the time I was playing like Coldplay, Yellow, and like
Right.
Wonderwall, and like those
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
ones.
yeah,
now.
yeah, of course.
First
of
4
course.
chords I learned, I called my friend who could like sing. I was like, let's make a song. You know? And I wrote my first song like a few months later, you know, and I started writing back then too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you were saying that like you always, even before it was music, like you would do poems and you would.
Yeah, I
You
would
were
always just
always
write my
journaling, you were always
feelings.
writing.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
right.
That was my way to like get stuff out, and like I would always write. To this day, I still journal.
Right.
You know what I
so
mean?
putting words on paper.
Yeah.
And then the poem. So I mean, I could see the transition to then the music side of things
Yeah.
now. Then.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So what was like your first band experience?
That was Insert Coin.
Right.
Yeah.
So they found you or you found them? Like how did that work?
I mean, I played guitar, and I was taught by Tony Walters at first, right, from San Fernando, and then like I was in lessons with Johnny Hussein,
Yeah,
right? So he
yeah.
taught me classical guitar, and you know, I remember also being like, because he taught other audio concepts. Remember audio concepts on Long Circular Road?
Yeah.
Where like
yeah,
some of
yeah,
these Skid and Valley boys was like working there, right?
Yeah,
Like Andrew
right.
and Shane and thing. And like I knew Skid, I knew of them, I knew some of the local bands now.
They were in the scene.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like
Yeah.
kind of fangirling at the time, you know, about it. And so I'd always like I knew them, right?
Yeah.
So like I don't know, like one day my mom comes home and she's like, Megan, do you play bass? She don't even know like guitar, bass, like what do you play? I was like, I don't play bass, you know? I was like, why? Like one of her colleagues was a friend of the band, Insert Coin. She's like, well,
Ah.
Insert Coin is looking for a bassist. I was
Wow.
like, Insert Coin does not want me to play bass for them, right? They're like, no, well, you know, they're looking and stuff, and you should try or whatever. And I guess I, you know, I said okay, right? So
I'm sorry, how old you were?
I
at
was
this time?
14.
14, okay.
yeah, I was 14. I never played bass before,
Right.
right? So like Dion, who was in the band at the time, Dion Howe,
Yeah.
calls me, and I was real nervous and thing, called me just to like talk to me and thing about everything, and like what kind of music you listen to. And this time Alanis Morissette was my idol.
Right.
All right, like her writing, like to this day, I love Alanis Morissette.
Yeah.
She's
No,
everything,
huge.
right?
She was huge back then.
Yeah.
I got into her late, so like the
Right.
so-called Chaos album came out around that time. So like
Ah.
I missed Jagged Little Pill and all those before,
Serious?
right? Yeah, but
Okay.
don't worry, I caught up, right?
Right.
Like, yeah. So I was like, I was real into Alanis when I was like, Korn. I was listening to Korn and
Corn,
yeah.
That's a must, that's
I
a
read
must.
like Linkin Park and stuff too, right? So I was
Right.
telling him that we made an arrangement to come down to the band room, and my dad took me, right?
Yeah.
So I remember I put on my like orange Converse and like wore black, and I was like, but before that, my dad had like arranged to borrow a bass, right? So I could kind of like try, right?
Right.
A 4-string though. I didn't know Intercoin I didn't know basses had 5 strings,
Right, yeah.
and I didn't know guitars used to play with like 7 strings,
yeah.
right?
Ah.
So I got a 4-string bass, and I could play by ear. So I was like, let's try something. Look up some Intercoin songs and changes. Was the first one that I heard.
Yeah.
And you know, they chicken. And I was like, did it skip or is this the song? Like the I was like, what am I getting myself into then, right?
It's weird.
What am I getting? So I tried to kind of play it and thing, reach up in the band room, you know, real nervous. There was another guy playing. He knew these songs, Bridge to Nowhere, and he was auditioning or whatever. And I was like, all right, I should just go, right? He know these songs and stuff. But they kind of taught, you know, when it was my turn, they kind of taught me, you know, the riff and stuff. And I caught on, and I guess they liked me because I was in, right?
Yeah.
So this is with Scott and James and Anthony Grant was drumming at the time.
Yeah.
And Dion and me. And then I just like lined with Scott and learned like a set in 6 days.
Wow.
Yeah, like
Wait.
it was like a summer for me, right? So
It sounds like
I
kind of
have-
came natural to you as well.
I
mean,
was I
like
was
you
good.
Picked it up. Yeah.
I was good at that. I was
Right.
real good, you know. And
So
I-
before you knew it, like you were playing like live shows on that
yeah,
kind of thing?
that August.
Out
I-
on our school nights and
yeah, it was the best time. I was a little rock star. Like it was the best thing ever.
you must have been like the coolest girl in school.
I
for
wish,
sure.
I wish, right?
No?
But ain't nobody had time for me and my rock thing. Like, what are
Right.
you doing, right?
Yeah, it's true.
But, like-
Nah, that's still kind of niche, right?
Yeah, a few of my friends would come,
Right.
bless them, right?
Right.
And like hide in the bathroom because we were like 14, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
nobody knows what, you know, their parents would let them come or they'd come with them, and
Right.
I'd just be like there, like drinking my shandy with my parents, like, you know. But it was awesome. Like I played Anchorage. I remember we were like a guest band for the Pop Rocks.
Yeah, I remember Anchorage used to have like big shows and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's so cool. But at 14,
It was
14,
awesome.
15,
Yeah, like it was the best time ever. I love that stuff.
Yeah. So is that when you sort of got bitten with the bug for the whole music scene?
Yeah, like being involved in Intercoin, playing with that level of musicians, like there's only like you have to just keep going up from there. Like
Yeah.
I started with these guys who are amazing musicians,
Right. Yeah.
and then being in a circle of other amazing musicians, being in the studio while they were putting down stuff. That's my first time in a studio by Mate.
Yeah.
Like going to listen to like I think it was like Kill the Killer at the time with Scott and John Amal.
Yeah.
You know, and listening like them Scott putting down guitars and stuff and being on that end of that side of the screen, so to speak, right?
I mean, did you feel like a pressure in that, you know, they're more experienced than you, they're older than you? Like, did you get nervous going up on stage, like when you're performing or even in the studio?
Yeah,
Like how did that feel as a, you know, much younger person?
Scott and I had this like running joke. It's like every time right before I went on stage, I was like, Scott, I need to go to the bathroom. Like, it just became a thing after a while. But yeah, I'd get nervous. That first show I played, I just stood still and like shook my head a little bit. But from
Right.
the second show was in like Tsunami, I was banging out.
Yeah.
I was banging out.
Yeah,
And like
yeah.
it just I can't like, and then I just do more and more and more, and then
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I realize I'm quite the show woman.
Yeah,
Right.
You're
You
a
know?
performer,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
So you go on stage and it just kind of comes out.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
the best feeling ever to be on stage. Like
Right.
I love performing. I still love performing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's nervous, but you know.
So what high school you went to?
Providence. Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
okay.
So I did Providence until Form 5, and then I went to Holy Name Form 6. And it's
Okay.
like that was like a small moment, but like I could have gone to Providence for Form 5, but I chose to make the change to Holy Name. I chose to go somewhere else that I didn't know anyone. I mean, my sister was in Holy Name. She was few years below, right? But I actively was like, okay, I'm making a decision to open my mind a bit, right? And this was like one change that I made.
So, I mean, is it just you just felt for a change in people, or was there something academically that they offered?
No.
What made you want to jump over?
The only thing I could think is that I really wanted to like find myself, and I wanted to. I think now that in retrospect, like I knew that I had to be uncomfortable first now, right? And I still remember that, like I actively was like, I want to be more open to experiences, and I could have stayed with with my friends who were there, but I went, and like if you like. My life seemed to be like that. Like it gets easier to make changes the more that you do it. You know what I mean? So that's something like noteworthy to me for myself.
I mean, it's kind of noteworthy. Like we ain't gonna jump into the Italy stuff as yet, but like I know you kind of dived in there.
Yeah.
Something completely different. So it's like a pattern, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's training.
Right.
It's been training. Like now it's just I'm a runner when it comes to change.
Yeah.
You know.
So what did you decide to study?
I did accounts, economics, and business.
Okay.
Right? Because that was me. Like I always have a plan. Right?
Yeah.
That was my plan B. Like I was like, if things didn't work out, I could fall back somehow with these qualifications. Right? So the whole time I was watching Napa being built across the street. And I was like, well, I will go there to do, you know what I mean? So I was just killing time in Form 6, and trying hard because, oh gosh, I'm real not, like I tried my best in those subjects, man. I did well, I passed everything, but man, it was hard.
So all your CXCs and A's and that kind of thing is in more business business side
well,
of things.
in CXC, I also did music and art.
Okay.
So music would have taken me up to like a grade 5, even though I've never done any like music school
formal
evaluations.
Okay.
Yeah, but it would have been about a grade 5 in classical guitar and theory, and I was sight reading. I was good back then. I was not so much at all now, but I was good back then.
So then, is it after that you went to UTT?
Yeah. So after Form 6, I went to UTT to do the certificate in digital media and music technology. Right.
What does that cover?
So it was mostly about live and studio recording and music recording production, stuff like that. And it was supposed to progress to a degree at the time. So we were the first year of that. We were like the only ones in school, right? That year in the entire school with the music students and everything. We were all the first year of our program, right? Okay. So it was supposed to progress. And, I learned a lot. And that class was full of industry professionals, like, Mate Mamahan was in that class, Marka Wright, the DJ Andy himself, and a bunch of other people who knew what they were doing. And I was just like, I was in a band called Stop Motion. I was singing and writing music, and we would go to record in the studio. Like, I never recorded anyone, right? So I was just like, I had to hold my own, and the class was a bunch of guys. It was me and another girl at the time, right?
So how did you decide, or like why did you decide to jump into the technical side to be, because that's more behind the scenes stuff than actually up on stage rocking out with the guitar.
Correct. It's like two reasons, I think, because like one, at the time, and like it didn't seem like music was a feasible career choice. It always seemed like a hobby, right? My performance, and even still, like I still do it because I like to do it. I don't do it to try to be anything, right? So it was always kind of like a hobby scene, right? Unlike nowadays, which I guess we could get into that later on, right? Yeah. But back then it was just like a hobby scene now.
Yeah.
And then too, like I'm obsessed with learning how things work.
Right.
Like in every respect. So if I play an instrument, or if I can design lighting and sound, I need to know all the other steps that happen now. Right. And like even to myself, like I need to understand like my brain and like how like your mind body connection, like these things, like it's too much. Like I need to like stop. But I'm just like curious. More than anything. Yeah.
And then I mean it was more I guess it was like it's kind of easier to see a career because like Napa was building,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, okay, if I study this, then here's a place where I could maybe potentially work after and that kind of thing. Whereas the music side of things, like you're not sure. You're not sure if it's
where
gonna
it's gonna go
pan
next.
out
Yeah.
into some
Yeah.
Hollywood career. Or,
Yeah, and I mean, I wasn't. I mean, I was happy to learn, and I still am. I enjoy school and learning and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
but that taught me a lot. That really, like, it was hard. It was a struggle because at that time the certificate was really intense. I think things have changed a bit now, right? But we had a real intense time, and then it never ended up progressing into the bachelor degree. Now there is the music technology bachelor degree. Now it's being offered, which I'm real happy for. And I always go back and I always do like guest lectures or guest, like as a guest
talks,
speaker,
yeah.
you know, and talk to the students and stuff like that. I love UTT, and like I would, you know, always go back and do what I can, right?
Yeah, I think they have quite a few good like creative courses there. I know there's a strong animation, motion graphics sort of program as well. A lot of good talent comes out of that one.
Yeah, it's just the theater design and production, which is what I ended up transitioning to.
Yeah.
That one isn't, I don't know if it's not getting the funding it needs, or I don't know what like if they're not advertising enough, but that one is not, you know, getting as much traction these days now.
Okay.
And, you know, I wonder if people see, like, you know, after you do your school, you know, you look for what jobs you can have.
Yeah.
You know, and so
they're not
maybe
seeing the
they're not.
opportunities.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, locally you have, I mean, what is Queens Hall and then Trinidad Theatre Workshop.
Sure. Yeah, and then well, the Napa.
Napa, of course. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you have to look maybe elsewhere. Maybe you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
or you know, grow the industry that we have here, so
Right.
that the arts becomes a feasible source of, you know, of economic contribution. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So from UTT, like, what did you do after that?
So I did the sort of the theater design and production. Right. I didn't want to.
Okay.
Like, I just, like, it was either, like, you take the certificate or you transition and you get your credits moved over and you go on to
Right.
this thing.
Right.
So that was, like, a mistake. Like, that was, like, a thing that was... And theater was never a thing that I ever wanted or thought I wanted to do.
Right.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
But you were saying your sister was more into that kind
Yeah.
of scene.
When, like,
right?
only thinking about it now, like, you know, I kind of... But it never was like, oh, yeah, well, my sister did this, so, like, I'm going to, like,
Right.
be behind the scenes, right?
No,
It
was
was
any
never...
process.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
not
yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
But I got my first sound design work for theater for the Trinidad Theatre Workshop. In fact, the A Midsummer Night's Dream that Nikolai was in, I did the
look at
sound
that.
for that.
Right.
That's so cool.
Right, with
Yeah.
Tamia Hearn directing, and Tashana Williams was also in it. She's in Freetown Collective,
Yeah.
and a few others that you'll see in those films and movies and stuff local. That was real nerve-wracking. That was the first time I said yes to a job like that.
Right.
That was like my first thing in theater that I was like, okay, this is awesome. I love designing. It was amazing. It was real fun.
Yeah.
And then I did like some lighting design for the Wiz in Queen's Hall, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
So you did fall in love with it. I mean, because your first love sounded like it was the music.
yeah.
And then you looked at the technical side of things because you was like, okay, I could see a job or career potential there. But then from doing it, it did grow on you to the point where you enjoyed doing it.
Yeah, and I wanted to know and do more.
Right.
But I also wanted more for myself, and I felt kind of like caged at the time, you know? And my cousin Stacy, she was working on cruise line. She was working there for like a year of, 6 months or something. And I remember when she came back and we went Mayara with Lyman, and she was telling me about her travels and her things, and it was real inspiring.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, well, I want to do this. Like, I want to travel too. Like, I want to do these things. And then so I was like, I'm going to look into cruise line.
Yeah.
And so I did. And I put my resume on like the cruise jobs website and stuff. I looked up different cruise lines, and I was like, well, Disney is like the #1 entertainment company in the world.
Right.
And, I'm going to try to work for them.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of trainees, I remember when I was like now leaving Fatima, a lot of people thought those jobs were, working on a cruise ship,
Yeah.
amazing in that, you're getting paid in the US, you could save your whole salary.
You
I
could real save.
guess because
You could save
you're
or
getting
spend.
you're getting
Depend-
food and they provide any food, all your meals and everything, right? And it's
Mhm.
not like you had to pay a rent.
Right.
So like, how was that experience? Was it amazing or was it real hard work?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And it was real hard
And it was
work.
real
It was both.
Yeah.
It was both. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I started doing that, I was 23.
Mm.
So I was like young and thing, you know, and I'm still young though.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it was my first time really getting out of Trinidad too. But I remember, again, I was in Disney World. Like I'd saved up a bunch of money and went with my girlfriend at the time. We went to Disney World, right? And we were going through the like small world ride, and I was looking around, or like Pirates of the Caribbean. I was looking around, and I was like, how do they do this? Like, how does this work?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The light show on the castle and fireworks. I was like, I need to know how this works.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and then, so yeah, then I started working for them.
But, so how was that? I mean,
Yeah.
you got to where did they go? Like what were these stops for that cruise ship?
Well, there were 4 ships, and so I was like the swing.
Okay.
So I would cover vacations. So I had to go to different ships. So I
Yeah.
Okay.
was able to be on all 4 ships and did all the itineraries and like worked in all the theaters and stuff. I held 2 different positions. So I was kind of like a versatile one, but real imposter syndrome. Like I was like, somebody's gonna realize that I don't belong here, and then I'm just gonna have to just show myself out. And
I
stuff.
think that's a common thing with creatives,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah.
think we all kind of feel like that.
Yeah, man, it was
It's a
real.
thing.
But
It's a
ship
thing.
life.
Yeah.
Nobody will understand ship life unless you are there. I could speak about it,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
but you will never understand it unless you have done it.
How big are the rooms?
Small.
And you're sharing with anybody, or you
Ye-
have your own?
So it
little thing?
depends on like the like level or the ranks that you are at. You know,
Okay.
some managers have their own rooms.
Yeah.
Some don't. Some officers, you know, some have 2, some have 3 people sharing. You know, it's a small car. Like I shared one. You know, I shared a room with some people. Not all at the same time. I had like different roommates, different
Right.
ships, right?
Right.
So the living was, you know, tight.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, I worked between 9 and 12 hours a day without a Sunday, without a weekend.
Oh no weekends.
No, you're just
No
going.
weekends?
Straight.
Yeah. So it's like you
Ja.
can learn a lot about yourself if you like give yourself that chance to do, because you can grow exponentially, because it's such an exponential situation. All your it's highs and lows, and
You're right.
you're working with people that you're lineman with, and your managers are your friends, and like thing, and like the
Yeah.
bacchanal, and then you're on this little
Bacchanal.
you're in a bubble, a floating bubble with its own culture and its own rules and regulations, and it's like
Yeah.
it's so
On his own gossip, on his own
Yeah.
drama, and his
Yeah,
own
yeah.
young and restless or
Yeah.
whatever. Going
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
yeah. So Israel thing is
Wow.
it was intense, you know.
So what sort of what countries have you been to? Because these ships stop off in places and you could get off and explore and that kind of
Yeah,
thing. So
yeah.
what sort of experiences you had there?
Well, many I hiked a lot, as much as I could. So I hiked Pulpit Rock in Norway, and like to glaciers in Alaska. I love glaciers.
Wow, that sounds so cool.
So like hike across to like the what's it called, the ice caves, which
Right.
is really dangerous because it's just like
Yeah,
melting
that sounds
ice, right?
sketchy. Kind of.
I mean, you could like
I
die any day, right? So yeah, one life to live,
True.
you know.
I saw some YouTube video with some dude who like fell down. No, is it a movie? It's a movie. There's a movie with a guy who fell down a cave,
Yeah.
and he was in there for like 3 weeks or something.
Yeah, you want to stay clear
I
of
can't
those
remember. Yeah.
craters, like
Yeah.
But like I went on, I did like a glacier walk, and then that was nice, and like drink the water because
Right.
it's just like fresh,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
right
Yeah.
water. And then I did and you take the helicopter up, right? And then I did another one where it's like the glacier is like covered in like 8 feet of snow,
Right.
and there's like a mushers camp, like dog sledding. So I went. That was the first time I ever saw snow, like proper
Wow.
was there. you know.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and like I did that, and I've been to parts of the Caribbean, Bahamas, Panama Canal. I did like 4 times. San Diego, San Francisco, Vancouver.
That sounds like a real good experience,
Alaska.
man.
It was it was great.
You're busting your ass, but you get to see, and you don't have to pay for all of this, all of these places.
It's traveling on a budget. Like there would be no way that I could afford to travel to as many
all
places.
those places.
But if I wasn't, you know, earning my keep, you know, if I wasn't paying, you know, giving my time for money, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So out of all the places that you saw, like, which one would you say is like, would you recommend to like friends or anybody who's listening?
Man, Iceland is a dream.
Yeah?
Iceland was cool. I would love to go back on like a vacation there, or like have some time to explore more.
Right.
Because it's an interesting landscape. Very, very interesting. You have these cute little villages and like huge ominous mountains in the background, just towering, going up into these into the clouds. Alaska was awesome. I spent a lot of time. I did a lot of tours to Alaska.
Yeah.
So Juneau and Ketchikan, Skagway, like all those places that, you know, and I did a lot of excursions and stuff too.
Did you get to meet any locals when you were on those trips, or were you mostly like with your fellow co-workers from the ship?
Yeah, mostly with the people from the ship. You see, remember, we only have a limited amount of time when we go on. You know, you just have like a certain amount of hours depending on how much time you have off. So you want to do more touristy things. You know, you want to explore in that respect.
Yeah.
You know, it's not so much time to do the local experiences. Although you can, you know, like go grab a drink, talk to a few people. You know,
Of
but
course,
like every other trip, like when I went to South Africa and Peru and stuff like that, on my own, I was able to, you know, interact more and have a nightlife and speak to people and different things like this.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
So yeah.
So when did you figure that, okay, this ship enough of this?
When
you
I
decided to bust it. Like,
when I felt too comfortable, like everything was clockwork.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you know, the money was good,
Right.
and I knew my positions inside out. I knew how to troubleshoot, like, you know. I mean, I'm real proud of that. Like, I was able to be real on it, you know, and my interactions with people. Like, I'm a good people person when it comes to, you know, interactions. But eventually, it just, you know, the politics of things get to you, as everywhere, I think, too.
Yeah.
And then I just felt like there was no more growth in that time. Like, I didn't want to be
so you
audio.
learned as much as you need to learn, and you experience a lot.
Yeah, my only position forward was like the audio lead, which was very technical, still very much in charge of like the audio network of the ship and different things like this. And I didn't want to lose sight of the fact that I was a designer and a maker and a creator and stuff like this too, you know. And we did a lot more like operational work. You know what I mean?
Did you have any other like sort of Trini friends that went on this ship with you, or you kind of went knowing nobody there either?
Yeah, I just go.
You just went.
Yeah, I didn't know anybody.
So the pattern is there again.
Yeah.
Blazing my own trail.
And it's interesting because I have to leave halfway through every contract. So you save many goodbyes, you make many friends, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, you know, I think people think that I just don't care sometimes, but it gets easier because you understand you'll be okay. Like, things will be okay. Like, you'll get over it and different things, you know. It just is this is the life that you chose, and you have to go, right? So,
I mean, you're kind of throwing yourself in the deep end each time you do this, right? And that's how you learn to swim sometimes by force, right?
Yeah, at this point, I just would like to just kind of backstroke a little bit and like relax and then, you know. At this point would be nice, you know, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But then I also wanted to do my masters. Like, that was a part of my plan, right? Like, I wanted to be. I can't remember the exact plan, right? Because you make a plan, you kind of put it there, and then you just kind of go forward.
Yeah, and it evolves too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I remember I wanted to have completed my masters and just be a level of success in some way, right?
Right.
And so I was like, well, let's go master, right? Like, let's research.
Yeah.
And so this one that I chose in Rome was you know, arts and culture management, and that's what I just finished.
So you left the ship. I mean, you probably had like a decent savings because you just pack it. How many years you did that?
I did 3 years.
You did 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you paid for your cover. That was able to cover the masters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do everything.
Right. Nice.
Yeah.
So did the music stop? Like when you only ship and that kind of thing, or did you still manage to to keep playing music?
I mean, I would play little small shows for the crew and
Yeah?
stuff like that. Yeah,
Cool.
of course. Like
That's
I
cool.
always picking up a guitar.
But not
and-
for the crowd though.
Well, they would have like the guest show, like a crew talent show is what they would call it.
Okay.
And so I
Yeah.
would like do that.
Singing as well, or
Sing and play, yeah.
Sing and play?
Some of my own stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
I didn't make a habit of it because I was the one running the show, right? I was the
Yeah,
one,
of course.
Yeah.
right? So like run and quick change and come back and grab a guitar, you know. But I'd play when I could. But at the time I had Monsters sitting in the studio in Random Design Studio where I worked with Marte.
Right.
It was just sat there for the years.
Right.
It was written before Portrait of Ruin was written.
Right.
And so sometime I came back home and I was here for 5 months. And then in that time I said, okay, like let's do this song. Like I have to finish this one.
Right.
So
maybe we could pull up some of your music.
Yeah.
Before we
Do
jump
it.
into a room.
do it.
Yeah. Let's do it. All right, Dexter is the technical dude. Let's see if we could pull this off. So maybe tell us a little bit about it before we play.
Okay.
So you wrote it.
Yeah, so I wrote it and produced and
produced
did
it.
it all except for the drums.
Right, and you had it all recorded before you did the music video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
well, I mean, I guess that's how it normally works,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
well, I
You
mean,
sound
it
done
was
first.
it was a very like it was mixed to some extent,
Okay.
right? And then I would have to like add on like an intro and outro stuff, depend because the video, you know, did
Right,
its thing, right?
Yeah.
But it was pretty much done with minor tweaks and stuff after that wouldn't have affected the flow of the video.
Right.
But the song was written about my inner monsters and sort of like embracing this temptation and embracing these qualities that are deemed as bad and just being like, you know what, like I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this
It's part
is it,
of you
right?
as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
But at the time, the like climate of like domestic violence against women, like femicide, really, it was
Yeah.
just like it was too much. It was a lot, and it still is.
And it still is.
It still is.
It still is.
It makes
it's
me
like horrific.
so
Yeah.
angry, right?
Yeah.
And so at the time, I was like, okay, I need to represent I need to use my platform
Right.
to showcase something. And so I wanted the song and the video to kind of represent my army of monsters. So it was a full female cast and a mostly female crew. I really wanted
Yeah.
to be like
Yeah.
female power. And like this is us. So it's like my army of monsters being unleashed into the world. And like us or not, we are here and we're gonna wreak havoc.
That's the perfect
Yeah,
intro.
yeah,
Next,
yeah.
I'll try and run it there. Tell me when I'm playing, and
Yeah.
I'll switch.
Let's go.
We go in. Okay, let's see if it. Oh yeah, technology, boy. Ominous music there.
And when they check the video on YouTube or whatever, make sure and stay for the credits. Everyone's credited,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was made for sin. I was made for this mess.
My sister did makeup and costume.
Made for
Sophie
this
Walcott directed.
Right.
And who is the cinematographer?
Kristen Ross.
Yeah, I did.
It looks great. I mean,
But now I am compelled.
And how long did it take to shoot?
We had 24 hours. I
Okay.
literally took the whole 24 hours. I was so tired. They were like, focus. I was like, I can't. Look into the camera. I can't.
And this was shot where?
A friend of mine was building a house in Mocha.
Okay.
And I just used his empty, plastered house.
Right.
all female crew.
Yeah. That's my sister there with the mask, Leanne.
Okay.
Yeah. Called all the friends in and stuff to come help me out, you know?
Must have been a lot of fun. I know that girl she's a graphic artist.
Yeah,
From,
Daniela.
Daniela, yeah, from CMB.
And like in terms of like the concept of the video, the treatments and that kind of stuff, like is that all you or like Sophie did a lot of that? Or?
No, I like to give them
Right, the
free reign.
creative
I
control.
tell them what I want,
Yeah.
the vision I have, and I love to just let them do it. They
Right.
could represent it so much better than I could even
Right.
imagine.
Right.
The video exceeded all my expectations.
That's right.
They did a fantastic job.
So this was done in what year?
2018.
2018. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It looks like top notch, like top quality
I
stuff.
think so too. I was surprised.
real
I
good,
didn't
yeah.
expect it to be this good. It was remarkable. I'm very grateful.
Sophie is actually, she was studying
Film.
film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was still, I think she was still in school when she did
Right.
when she did the video. Still
Right.
like this was her first video like this.
Yeah.
I love like the colors as well.
Yeah.
Like how the video was colored. So what genre of music would you say is like your where you see yourself?
I think it's like
Because there's like some harder stuff, and then
yeah.
this sounds like more modern,
I
poppy.
mean, I would say like dark pop.
dark pop.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I'm interested in the darkness of it. Yeah.
Nice one.
Thank you.
All right. So you have like a album. I mean, how many songs do you have? Are you able to? Did you ever
mean-
want to do that, or you just sort of releasing
Yeah, I would love
singles?
to. I would love to make an album, but I would love to do so many other things too.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if the time and budget permits,
Yeah.
I would love to make an album. I have 2 songs sitting down that I would love to make happen, get them recorded.
Right.
But yeah, I just release a single every once in a while. So I
Yeah.
think there's 4 or 5 out. And
Okay.
then, I had a band back in the day called Stop Motion, which was real amazing. I real loved that band. And I hope to just play a show, maybe
Right.
record 1 or 2 at some point.
Yeah.
But who knows when that can happen. So
Well, you have Dexter, who is in about 10 bands,
yeah.
and I think
Not
he'll
so
be
many
happy to
anymore.
join
Yeah.
10 more.
Take a jam.
Sometime for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Word.
So okay, so you left the cruise ship, and then you went straight to Rome, or you came home first?
I was home so my contract would have ended in August
Yeah.
of 2018. So I would have resigned then. And then I was in Rome by October. So I came home to finish up organizing everything. And this sounds like I'm talking about it. I just did this. It was real hard.
It's really-
Everything is real, just hard to do.
Yeah.
It's like a duck, just flailing and just
No, just like the
underwater
organizing and trying to figure
Yeah,
out
yeah.
everything
Yeah.
before you, and
Yeah.
the paperwork, and
That's why people don't do it.
and then
Yeah.
applying.
Because
Correct.
and-
It's
yeah.
not easy.
It's hard
Yeah.
mentally to separate from everything that you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just a logistic nightmare. Bureaucracy is just, it's,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You have to want it and you have to real try.
What were you going to study there again?
That was arts and culture management.
Arts and culture management.
Yeah. So I was
Right.
ready for more responsibility.
Yeah.
And I feel like I had knowledge of many artistic fields, and I was
Exactly.
ready to take it to the next level,
Yeah.
right? And also it was a strategic move too, in that I wanted to be employable, and I wanted to be recognized more internationally.
Right.
I remember when I was in UTT, there was a panel of professors, and they were critiquing some work that I did for my practicum, and they kind of was like, what do you want to do? I was like, oh well, I can't even remember what I said, and then they said, we think you should go, think you should leave. And go, see what else is out there. And I said,
Right.
all right. I try to take advice from my mentors, and I seek, I try to understand that not all the advice that I get is what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But from the people that I trust, I put my trust in them, in their opinions a lot. And there's not many people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why did you choose Italy?
Many factors. You know, I was footing the bill myself,
Yeah.
and it's very expensive to study in the States and in Canada.
Right.
Parts of Europe, you know, the education is cheap or free, like in Poland or Germany. But
Even for foreigners?
yeah. You
Serious?
pay small fees and like the cost of living, but it's cheap or free in many places.
Wow.
Yeah, the cost of living may be high though.
Yeah,
So
of
you
course.
pay in other ways, right? But then I was like, I didn't want to be somewhere cold, or I wanted to be able to be like, you know, open and gay. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And out. Like I'm not going back in the closets. You know what I
Right.
mean? That was 10 years. You know,
Yeah.
I came out like over 10 years ago, right?
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So
okay.
it's not, you know, it's not something I'm gonna go back on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what was the experience like in Trinidad?
Horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, my coming out story was just horrible. Like I thought my parents
Serious?
would be cool. They weren't.
Oh, your parents weren't cool.
Yeah, man, it was horrible. It was like the worst 4 years, you know, and it was like I was 17 and
Yeah.
it was just like all my goodness retracted, it seemed. And
What year was that though?
2010 maybe.
2010ish. Right. Okay.
Yeah. 9, 10. Yeah, so it was not fun. And like, you know, I have I love my chosen family. I don't know if you guys heard that term ever, but you know, in the LGBTQ community and in
Yeah.
other communities, you know, you don't get that emotional support that you need from, let's say, friends or family or like biological
Yeah.
relationships. And so you have to find, you know, other relationships outside from people who are willing to love you in the way that you need to be loved, that you want to be loved.
Yeah.
And so my chosen family, which is not like one group of people, it's people from all over the world and different places who have affected me, who have taken me in, who are there for me emotionally and these things. And you know, when people say, well, that's your family, that's your thing, you can have family everywhere.
Yeah.
You can have family in anyone. You know, anyone who loves you can
And
be
is
your
it
family.
people that are also part of the community, or is it just foreigners who are just more open and
Open.
understanding and welcoming?
A bit of both,
A
you
bit of
know.
both.
And you know, and I must say, like, some of, like, two people who really like helped me a lot, and who are in the community, Cheyenne and Dana, who don't live in Trinidad anymore.
Yeah.
You know, but their relationship and family, you know, and their goals and the way that they're just powerful women owning themselves, and like to be able to call them friends and family is like you know, an honor for me, you know. And
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
my girl Ty, who I worked with in Disney,
Yeah.
who we just hit it off, and she's like a rock, you know. Now she's on the national tour of Lion King, you know, doing that, and like still finds time to check in on me. And
Yeah.
you know, so it's like, you know, and there's a number of people I could drop names right now, you know, but you know, it's like these are the people you want, the people,
Yeah.
the emotional support is
So
what
I mean,
you
you're saying that your family, well, as more your parents weren't as accepting.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what about like friends from high school? I mean, did your friends know?
yeah, like my friends.
And how were they?
I mean, my friends were. I love my friends.
Your
you
friends are
know,
still your
they're-
friends.
They're still
Yeah.
my friends, and they're
Yeah.
all, you know, like lovely.
Yeah.
You know, but they're all straight, or you know what I mean. So
Yeah,
like,
they don't
it
understand.
wasn't.
So they don't really understand what
it's
you're
not.
going
Yeah.
through, and
yeah. Or like, you know, there were no spaces for me. You
Right.
know, I remember the first time I ever sat down at a table with a bunch of queer people,
Yeah.
right, and all female, all lesbians, right, on
Yeah.
the table, and I just like, it was the most amazing thing
Yeah,
in
you
my
feel like
young life.
comfortable and relaxed
Yes,
and-
Yeah.
yes, we need more spaces that are safe,
Yeah.
that we can do these things, and like
Right.
this is the reason why I'm so vocal and out, because
Yeah.
I
Right.
needed representation, and I had the L word,
Yeah.
right, which I like loved Beth Porter, right. She was my favorite, and it seems like I became her because she was like a curator of a museum
Right.
and into the arts, right, and like I
Yeah.
would joke like I became Beth Porter, right.
Yeah.
That's too big for me to say that, but yeah, and so like relatable people that are out and doing things and not stopping for any reason.
Yeah.
Like I needed to see that, and
Yeah.
I want to be that for somebody else,
Right.
you know.
Now, I mean, you've you know, you've gone away and come back home and go away and come back home. Do you think things are improving in Trinidad, or are we just still too backward?
I think that there are pockets
Yeah.
of improvement.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't feel a sense of like there's no real societal change that
Yeah.
has happened.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still afraid to be myself walking around in public. First of all, I'm just afraid to be walking around in public in general because of
Well,
all
yeah,
the
the crime.
catcalls and
I know,
all
yeah.
the
Yeah,
like
of
you know
course.
all of these things that you know. But you know, in the whole time I was in Rome, I think I got catcalled like maybe twice.
Yeah.
Not the whole time in Rome. It's the whole time that I've been anywhere but here.
Yeah.
Like the past year and a half.
So
Twice.
even the Italians have changed because I know they're supposed to be like the most machismo
There's
kind
still
of dudes.
there is still a lot of that though,
Right,
yeah?
okay.
But like
Yeah.
I can walk a street at night and not
Have to worry.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right, and not be like you know getting catcalled like in and out of super farm.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those things, but you know, as a gay person, man and woman, you know, I don't see a real progress. I don't see real progress since the decriminalization of homosexuality.
Right.
But
What would progress look like
I
for
think
you? Like, what are some steps you think we need to take?
well, I think that the government needs to show more interest instead of leaving it to NGOs.
Right.
I think that government, even funding for, let's say, like Pride TT or things like that, or like more like regulation in that way, and not just leaving it off for them to handle. Like if we can show an interest in our people, but
Yeah.
I mean that can span not just the LGBTQ community, but other
Many
people.
things.
You know, there's a
Yeah.
lot of things
Yeah.
I think that we
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
can do.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I mean, I could only really speak for my sort of friends, but I mean, I know from like primary school days and even Fatima days, it was real normal to use the B word for guys
Yeah.
who were
Yeah.
supposed to be gay.
Yeah.
And I think as we kind of got older and our minds sort of opened up, we've kind of stepped away from that. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I even have friends who came out and you know today they're like out and gay, but I think in my bubble it's cool and we kind of joke around with each other and whatever. But you know, like I look at social media, for example, like I
Yeah.
think they attempted to have like a gay pride
Yeah.
day or march or something, and the comments
Scary.
the comments are scary,
Disgusting.
but it's kind of half and half as well though. So for everybody who is saying something negative, I'm definitely seeing somebody who's like responding and like, oh my god, you're so homophobic, like
Sure.
Yeah.
in the dark ages,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So there is kind of pushback. But what I would really like to know, and I mean, it's hard to tell from social media, right? Because really it's the people with the loudest voices
Yeah, that got heard.
that get heard.
Yeah.
But then is that like a proper
Gauge? Yeah.
for like on the society level, you know? Is do most people even care if somebody is gay or straight or what? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I
don't
haven't
know.
spent enough time back in Trinidad and
Yeah.
like been out and going around to kind
Yeah.
of see or like have a girlfriend now or anything, you know, to like
Yeah.
go and like experience for myself.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I do know that the younger generation seem to be out and proud.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that so
Yeah.
much. And
Yeah.
there seem to be a lot more open spaces for them, or maybe they just, you know, there's a lack of like, so why can't I just be myself?
Right.
And it's like I would like to believe that, you know, the people who are working now, you know, like Stephanie Leach and like Terry Ann Roy and the people who are advocating, you know, Ruan Mohammed, these activists, you know, in the community, and all of the people who are, I mean, I don't know if I can say that I'm an activist, you know, like I'm not on the front lines, but
Yeah.
I do what I can, you know,
Yeah.
and I show up, I try to be present and try to be me.
Yeah.
And I would like to believe that, you know, it's these things that are helping the younger generation to accept themselves,
Yeah.
you know, and in this way, you know, it's only going to get better and better as time goes on.
Yeah.
You know, but there is an unlearning as a society that needs to take place.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, what is also sort of happening, which I think would help like the younger people, is that I mean, even like advertising, there's more like TV shows, Netflix,
But
so,
not
so they're
Trinidadian, huh?
not
No.
Trini,
Because nobody wants to
TV.
make the
Yeah.
call for the ad, the billboard
Yeah.
of the two mothers
Yeah.
for some, you know what I mean?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Or two,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Nobody wants to make that call.
Yeah.
I know from the inside.
Right.
So, yeah. So it's these kinds of things like where there's a lot that needs to be done.
Before we, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's kind of jump back to Italy. So that was part of the reason why you chose, because you would find people who are more sort of open and you feel more comfortable.
I mean, I was hoping,
Yeah.
I was hoping, and then also too, like I really wanted to be somewhere that wasn't winter like all the
Yeah.
time. And
For sure.
I'd travel the Med, and I love the south of France, Spain. You know,
Right.
like I love that. You know, I mean, obviously I didn't manage to be in the south of, in Italy, but
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
go down to Reggio Calabria and like had a nice little time.
Right.
But I wanted to be in these areas, and then I thought, what's a better place to study arts and culture than Rome?
Yeah.
And I mean, I had a few options. I was thinking about Barcelona first. I checked the school and everything, but that one was more. The one in Rome was more business oriented,
Right.
and I really wanted to step into that management
Yeah.
role more.
Yeah.
So, in the end, I chose it. Whether it was good or not, it was the best decision I made. It was the best decision I could have made at the time, and I'm having a good time, and I'm still there.
Now tell us about that now. So like you come off the plane,
Yeah,
you ain't speaking the language.
right.
How are you getting by? How are you meeting people? How does that even work?
Okay. Well, I traveled a bit before,
Yeah.
right? So the long flights and the navigation and stuff, I kind of had that down,
Yeah.
right? Trying my best. But you take a deep breath and you just take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough that my roommates, my fantastic roommates at the time, right? My first roommates, they spoke English.
Okay.
And people who speak English like to practice.
Right.
So I didn't really
Right.
get much practice in myself, you
Right.
know, but it's a hard language. Like Italian is
Yeah.
is not so easy to learn.
Yeah.
And
You picked up any of it at all?
magari, certo.
Hey! What does that mean?
And I was like, I wish, but yes.
It sounded
certainly.
Italian. No, how do you
Yeah.
And
understand?
you have to add the hand. This is very important.
Right.
The
Okay.
hand.
It's really like people do this, like,
Yeah,
Okay,
but it's
okay,
really like
yeah.
a casual, like,
Right.
like what do you?
Yeah.
Of course.
Right. I like that.
No, I could speak a bit. I could get by.
But the first few months of how was that?
Well, I was I have this in my hand. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
go
like,
ahead,
well,
you
you
go
know, I'm
ahead,
just
you
like,
go ahead.
I was in the school that I was in. It's an English school, right?
Yeah.
So everyone spoke English. So my friends from school all spoke English. So we'd all go out together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My roommates spoke English, so it was easy to kind of interact with them. Making friends, not so much, and like interacting, not so much. It was like a trial by fire. Like I really had to like learn how to like put money on my phone or like ask
Yeah.
for directions or like these little things. Like I didn't live in the city center. I lived right on the outskirts in
Yeah.
Pineto was the area, and so nobody really spoke English or cared,
Right.
or so
Yeah.
I had to.
They're Italian, so they speak
Yeah, they spoke Italian, and the thing is, like, I learned to be real quiet and just like have a good time watching people have a good time because I couldn't interact, and like humble myself and realize my entitlement as an English speaker, a native English speaker, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Just show up and speak English, and everybody must understand you, and it's no.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
no.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like learning a language is amazing, and because it's like it's a poetry on in its own. Like nothing is literally
Exactly,
translated.
exactly.
Like somebody can translate something for you to understand,
Yeah.
but you will never understand it in the way it's meant to be understood
Exactly. Yeah.
in that language. you
Yeah.
know?
It
So it's
loses
like
the essence. and-
Exactly.
yeah.
You have to know the culture. You have to know the people. You have to understand, the sayings, the different, phrasings, and one word can mean two different things in different contexts, and
Right.
so it's like a science.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
intense. I hope to be better at it. I since I've been in Trinidad, I've not been practicing as much, so I should really get on that.
Yeah.
But
But we have those apps now.
Yeah. Duolingo.
They
and
kind of
Memrise
the
and-
translating apps.
Oh,
I think
that.
yeah, like
Yeah.
Google has one. I think you could like speak into it,
Right.
and then it's supposed to like translate
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
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 But
Yeah.
I guess you need to have data for that to work and all of that.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it still doesn't really translate
Properly.
exactly,
Yeah. Yeah,
to
true.
say, but you could
It
get
helps
by.
a little bit. Yeah.
So what about the classes now? Because the professors would be in Italian. the classes?
No, all the classes were in English.
All the classes in English?
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
okay.
So I was breezing through.
Ah.
I think I was the only native English speaker in the class. Everyone else was
Oh.
from like Vienna, Turkey, Colombia,
Really?
parts of Africa, Cyprus.
So
Like
a real international
Yeah.
vibe then.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some
Vibes.
were Italian and Spanish and stuff. And it was amazing to finally be in a class where like, like in UTT, it was like all boys and two
Right.
girls. And this one was like, there were two guys in the class, right? So it was like all of this. It was such a wonderful experience because
Yeah.
they're all so very talented in their fields, Like
Yeah.
some were more into music, some were more into the art, different things. And they were amazing people.
Yeah.
And so we did like art gallery management, museum management, art advisory, music and entertainment, live event stuff. So the management of the spectrum of the creative arts.
Yeah. It's broad.
And you worked while you were over there as well? Or you were just sort of using your savings from Disney to live?
I budgeted so well.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I have to. Like
Yeah.
I've been independent. Like I was teaching, guitar when I was like 16, right? So I was making money.
Yeah.
And I made a little life for myself teaching, starting from one kid.
Yeah.
And then by the time I stopped, I had like 3 classes a week.
Check
and I
it
had
out.
like, so I made a
Yeah.
thing for myself, right? So
Yeah.
I kind of like understood, what I had to do, right? And but this one was very difficult. So yes, I budgeted it out.
Yeah.
It lasted me down. And then I needed to, I got an opportunity to work for the Rome New Year's Day Parade.
Right.
Through Destination Events is the company that throws the parade, and I had to figure out a way to maintain myself, so I got a little small hustle, and try to get the permit to stay another time. So everything is going at the same time.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy. And then I managed it.
Yeah.
And so now I'm going back and I'm still doing all right. So I'm not broke yet.
So you've
So-
you've finished the
I'm finished the
masters
master.
already?
Yeah.
Nice one.
And I did really
So
well.
you're going over there, yeah?
Yeah,
Well,
I did
congrats on that.
amazing. Like I'm ready for another master. Like it was easy. Like
How many masters one person can get?
I don't know, many. Yeah, I'm ready to do another one. Like I'm more, give me more. But
Yeah.
I have to be patient and be a bit strategic. I don't.
But
really
you'll
have
need to be you need to sort of work and do it at the same time.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna
Yeah.
go back to ships
Right.
and do some ships again.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then come back out.
So when you're done with all these papers and all these masters of the
Mm-hmm.
universe, where do you see yourself career-wise? How are you gonna apply that?
I still want to keep that open,
Okay.
But I do know what I want.
Yeah.
And I don't want a full-time job that it's like a 9 to 5.
Right.
I like working project by project and contracted work.
Right.
I enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
And I want to enjoy my life. Like I want to have downtime to not do anything and not have a job for a month. Like
Yeah.
I want to, in an ideal world, you would call me for a job.
Yeah.
We'd put up a production or manage an event or train people or something along these lines.
Yeah.
It could be for 3 days, 3 weeks, or 3 months.
Yeah.
And I go and I give my all to this project. I
Yeah.
watch it blossom and then I say goodbye. And then I come back to whatever my life is. And then I just like, make music or like go to the beach or like enjoy my life. Like I don't want, if I have to work, I'm doing it on my own terms.
Yeah.
And so this is the only thing that I know. And I just enjoy learning. And the
Yeah.
more, like I started music and then going to theater and then doing all these now management and these things. And now I'm very interested in like creative tourism.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm very interested in that now. So maybe I'll go, more like international relation type things or like
Right.
arts politics. And the movement of like abstract goods and creative goods across borders and like these things are
Yeah.
interesting to me.
Yeah.
So like maybe I'll learn a
Things
thing
that would
and
never
then,
even cross my mind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean I don't know. I want it to happen organically while I just keep moving forward now.
I mean, you're still young. I mean, you're under 30. you
Yeah.
know?
That's right.
So you still have time to continue to study, continue to upskill, and then figure out where you want to apply all of these masters.
Yeah.
I mean, so far just one, but like, you know.
Well, you say you already have another one planned.
Yeah, but
so-
then I'm talking to like my program supervisor,
Yeah.
who was we were discussing a potential startup that she wanted to do,
Okay.
and we were just having this conversation, and I was like, you know, because we were now the program is finished, so now we're just like speaking. I was asking her, you know, like, but how many masters and like how many things? She's like 3 masters and 2 PhDs, and I'm like, I was like, okay. And it's really nice to have mentors, or people that I can look up to that I can relate to in some way. Like she's, you know, she was not from Italy. She moved there, you know, she's studying these similar things, you know, she, you know, uprooted. All these things, like the more I do, the less relatable I become.
Yeah.
It's true, and it's isolating, and it gets lonely at times because, like, you know, it's hard to relate.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's really refreshing to meet someone who can mentor me and kind of talk to me like, yes, okay, you understand my where I'm at, my
Yeah.
headspace, you
yeah,
know?
Yeah. I mean, could you see yourself ever wanting to like buy a house somewhere? The reason I ask is because like a mortgage is like an anchor, right?
Yeah.
I'm about to get into one. You know?
Sure.
And it's like, well, boy, once you buy that house, that's it. But next
Yeah.
to I mean, unless I could rent it out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you can rent it out.
or
yeah.
do you see yourself just sort of kind of moving where the work is, new experiences? I mean,
at this point, it would be nice to have some stability. I
Yeah.
feel like I've been moving around for a long time.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't...
so if you had like a place to call your own,
Yeah.
you could travel and then maybe like
Come back.
come
Yeah.
back and you
Yeah.
have it there.
I mean, that's like the ideal,
The
you know,
ideal,
come
yeah.
back
Yeah.
to, you know, do my contracted work, go wherever the job takes me,
Yeah.
and then come back to a place
Yeah.
and just chill and
Yeah.
then do it all over
And then-
again.
yeah.
You know, so let's hope that, fingers crossed for the people who aren't watching, looking at it.
Everything, yeah.
Fingers crossed.
People who are listening.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could see yourself living in Trinidad long term.
I can't see myself living anywhere long term.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. But you still have like a connection here.
yeah, I mean,
You still have friends. You still have family.
it's sure, and I do, and but I don't know, man. I have family everywhere.
Yeah.
Of course.
So it's very difficult for me to say that. I would welcome the opportunity to come home, but I know that when I do, I don't want to come home unless I know enough to be a part of the revolution of the arts.
Right.
Like, there is no, like, if I'm back, it's because I'm, you know, the money ran out,
Yeah.
and I'm just going to go again
Yeah.
to learn and come back because, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to, you know, in being away and traveling, like, I recognize my privilege, right?
Right.
And I mean, not just my privilege.
Privilege, yeah.
Did I drink too much? I think maybe.
My mouth just gets tapped right through it, all kind of things. What's the
Yeah.
word I couldn't say yesterday? Not yesterday, last episode. Monetization.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big word,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
I was like,
Monetization.
But
Anyway.
no, yeah, not just like education wise, but I travel now and I see there's just like a lot of like racism, right? And I don't feel it as much because of how I look
Lighter
and the
skin,
fact
yeah.
that it's you know, I'm this like acceptably colored exotic beauty thing, and like
Yeah.
and it's true, like, let's be real about it, right?
Yeah.
Like, people don't see people like me around
Yeah.
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
and so I don't feel it. They
Yeah.
don't, they aren't like racist towards me necessarily, but
Right.
to other people who are me, like, who
This is
are
in Italy?
in Italy
Yeah.
and in other places, right?
Yeah.
Who are like, my blood is not just like,
Yeah.
you know, my blood is more than just like white people and
Yeah.
like this privileged thing,
Yeah.
right? And so I feel a sense that, okay, if I can just infiltrate, I can bring my people there too, right? Like,
Right.
this is like, I'm going like infiltrate and implode. Like, this is
Yeah.
my plan.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, until I'm able to understand what that really means and to be able to do it, like, I still have to be there and like learn what I can and like bring all the knowledge back to help my people, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you know, and like the Caribbean as a whole, really. I mean, I'm not trying to be like, I can be this whole thing, but like, I dream big all the time anyway. So it's
Yeah.
like, you know, if I can help or just be a part of it, then I would have done something amazing.
So
know?
you were talking about like the revolution of the arts
Yeah.
in Trinidad or
Yeah.
maybe like the wider Caribbean. Like, what does that look like?
I think fundamentally it is understanding that the arts and culture is a viable economic contributor,
Yeah.
right?
The
I
oil
think-
money done.
Right.
Right. So we need a plan B, a plan C, a plan D.
We need to plan,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But we need to educate. And I think not like educate even maybe the powers that be,
Right.
right? Because I mean, it would be amazing to see like trade and arts and culture and tourism all working together, right? With the understanding that the performing arts would operate at a deficit, but you would see the revenues in other aspects and you will see the growth in other aspects. So like the performing arts is taking one for the team,
Yeah.
but needs your funding to be able to continue provide jobs and all these different things, attract tourism. I mean, you wanna provide quality productions,
Yeah.
right? And so I think that these kind of things have to happen.
Yeah.
So like my whole thing is like I don't want to lobby anymore for change. Like I just want to be them. I just want to be it. I just want
Right.
to be whatever it is. Like I ask the question, who do I have to be to make certain things happen?
Yeah.
And then I'll just be them eventually.
Yeah. I mean, like what I'm seeing on Dexter, you were mentioning this earlier today,
Right.
that some of these fets, they taking it to the next level. But the next level is looking like one of those big European
Yeah,
festivals, like a Tomorrowland kind of vibe. I mean, I didn't go to Soca this year, but I heard that was the kind of vibe.
Yeah.
the production.
It was
Yeah.
in the savannah. So like with the fets, like I'm seeing things moving up in that respect. But with our traditional arts, I'm not seeing much movement there at all. I mean, is it like a profit thing? Because I mean, the fets are making tons of money, but then things like stick fighting, and Calypso,
yeah.
for example,
Calypso Dance.
are not.
Mhm.
You know, so how do you approach that? Like, how do you even tackle?
I mean, I wish I could.
Because it's our traditional art forms which are sort of like young people don't seem to be interested in them.
I mean, I would love to be able to talk. I feel like I'm not knowledgeable enough to give like a proper opinion on this.
Yeah.
However, I think that we need to be technology and progress. Like it needs to be moving together.
Yeah.
And these younger people aren't just going to be satisfied with like a tent and few lights, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or there needs to be more production quality,
Right.
or there needs to be some kind of brainstorming happening about how are we going to advertise, how are we going to market, it's like it needs to be like a very holistic approach. It can't be what has been done for the past like 3
Right.
decades, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It needs to, we need new ways to portray old things.
Right.
Yeah.
We need a marriage of the
yeah.
old and the new. Like
Yeah.
maintain the traditions but keep up with the technology.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's a real good answer. So maybe give some examples of things that you saw in Italy or on your travels
Okay.
that were super impressive that you think maybe could be incorporated here.
I
Like, what are
mean-
we not doing?
I mean, we aren't doing a lot.
Well, it's just a tent and lights as in some places.
No, but technology-wise, we are quite behind. There's a lot of amazing immersive theatrical experiences.
Right.
There's amazing things with projection mapping and 360 sound. So,
Yeah.
like, the ways that we entertain people. Like, I was in Prague for the Prague Quadrennial, right? It's
Yeah.
like a huge conference of scenography and design and space and theater, right? So I wasn't just like a guest. I was working for the Prague Quadrennial, right? So
Yeah.
whatever they needed, and I was like positioned in this experience, the 360 experience, right?
Yeah.
They took over the entire arena. They decorated and mapped it completely in projection, right? 360 sound and light show happening in rotation during this entire thing. There are 4 stations where VR headsets and a whole VR system was taking place.
Yeah.
So when you put the headset on, the headset is completely the room that you're in. right? So they've taken. I don't know how to describe it,
Yeah.
right? So the room that you're in, the sound and everything, you put the VR on and you're in that same world.
Yeah.
Right.
So then when things start to move and change and you start to lift off, there are people who are like holding on, like who are,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
this is far out. This is like big.
I
you
Yeah,
know.
that's a big
I know.
scale.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
but even stuff like augmented reality, you know, there's like a scotch or something that you hold and you put your phone and then the guy starts to talk.
Right.
Okay.
Right, I've seen that. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of like a description of like an augmented reality.
Yeah, yeah,
type
yeah,
of-
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Just-
we're
right?
familiar with
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And like these things can be incorporated
Yeah.
as well, you know. I would love to make like an experience similar to what I just described.
Yeah.
VR, you know, it's a hard thing to implement. But I mean, there's other ways, and there's other people
Yeah.
doing amazing things in the States and different
They,
places
they
too.
they definitely have some like little technology sort of
Yeah.
digital marketing startups in
Yeah.
Trinidad that are doing some of that stuff, but not to that
Yeah.
level.
Yeah.
You know, they still sort of iron out the kinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
expensive too.
It's expensive
You
too,
know what I
yeah.
mean? So like, you know, it's if funding is what you need, and
Yeah.
who are you gonna get that from, and who wants to fund these kinds of things, and so like we really have to change the mentality, you know, of you know, like venture capitalists and stuff like that,
Right.
like
Yeah.
or people, you know,
Investors.
investors in Trinidad. You know, we want you to invest in like our things too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could-
I think somebody like you
Uh-huh.
needs the high level look, you know,
Right.
to map it out for them
Mhm.
and hit them that
Yeah.
proposal of what this thing needs to look like.
I mean,
And people need to like work together and
Correct.
collaborate.
That's
That's
the
the
main
only
A lot of
thing.
things that come
More.
together, yeah.
like
you
I
know?
don't I know about the technical stuff, right? I do, but not enough to say like I can implement these things, and you know,
Yeah.
but I understand how they all work together.
Yeah.
You know, and I enjoy communication. Like I like to talk to people and stuff
Yeah.
like that. You know, get everyone on the same page.
Yeah.
I would love to spearhead something like this, but
Yeah.
when that happens, you know.
Yeah. But maybe after this podcast, your phone would ring.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Invite you to something.
Will be nice.
Yeah. So what's next for you?
You know, I'm just gonna enjoy my time. I'm not
Yeah.
here for very, very long. And then I just go back to Rome to live my life.
Right.
I don't have a plan for the first time in my whole life. And I'm very proud of that because I am just able to now kind of like backstroke into the, you know, field of possibilities. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I'm going to move forward with the things that I want. I want to
I
be...
really like that backstroke
Yeah.
into the field of possibilities.
Yeah, I
That's
read a
awesome.
I read a
I
lot
think I
of
want to put that on
like...
a t-shirt or something. But that is awesome. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm
Yeah.
easy. I'm
Yeah.
easy, and I welcome all the possibilities right now.
Yeah. Okay. That's
Yeah.
cool, man.
That's amazing.
All right. So, anything else we didn't cover, topics wise? Anything else you wanna say
No,
that you think we didn't cover?
I
We
just
good?
want to keep liming. So
Yeah. Well, we could do that. We could
Yeah.
do like a
Keep it
part two.
going.
We don't want to run out of tape. Like we run out of tape before, but I think we're good so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, great. It was lovely having you on.
it was good to be here, guys. It's a
Yeah.
pleasure. Such a pleasure.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.